Hello, hey, welcome. Are you tired of all these buildings and abandoned cars? Do you hate subhuman contact? Then why not try to survive on an island? Or better yet, system of islands, where your entire existence is a desperate struggle to find food, get clean water, gather whatever resources you can scavenge, and bet your life on a chance that you get everything you need to create a flintstone from ground up, which you can't, in order to survive long enough to explore other islands around you, living in a constant state of fear, since if your flintstone breaks, you die a slow, painful, agonizing death, because you will be forced to eat raw, unidentified mushrooms and berries, and drink tainted water just to live a tad bit longer, which we will do anyways because apparently you cannot boil water using a furnace and a tin can. Welcome to my survival on a system of islands where I struggle to survive. Our goal is simple: unite all of these islands into a single island and become a ruler of a free united republic of Suffrania. Because if you connect multiple islands together, it is still technically an island. Since Build 42 came out not long ago, we will have to use some of our special abilities to teleport to an island, because if I were to show how I intentionally trapped myself on an island, you would think that I'm stupid, even though I am. Get a paperclip, twine, and an angler recipe magazine. Why? Because someone thought it would be a brilliant idea to remove spearfishing. Now, survival isn't about the instincts, it's about academic excellence. You can't simply tie a string to a stick and call it a fishing pole anymore. Oh no, to survive you'll need years of your life studying quantum entanglement, a deep dive into the mysteries of a fishing lore, and of course, a magazine explaining the secrets of attaching a paperclip to twine. Because apparently, without a master's degree in survival mechanics, you are incapable of crafting this complex marvel of engineering. A stone hammer, because in order to create a flint flake in Build 42 from nothing, you need a stone hammer or any of these. And in order to create a stone hammer, you need a flint flake or any of these, which also require a flint flake. This genius idea basically means that if you are in the wilderness with nothing, you will die with nothing. Lastly, with every day that we survive, we get to place 3 floor tiles to help us connect the islands, because apparently wooden nails don't exist. And before you ask, no, I couldn't find any mods to fix this glaring oversight either. So, if you're still interested, I invite you to join me as I struggle to survive, one day at a time, in this self-imposed challenge. Will we unite the islands? Will the Suffrania rise to glory? Or will the funny mushrooms get the better of me? So we are getting these traits. If not for them, I would have definitely given up a long time ago. Our leader is scary as a Suffranian, who we are going to torture by making him survive alone on this island. Once we're there, we get the resources we need from the debug menu. The only luxury we have is this small hut, private lake, and the bench to sleep on, which will cause an immense pain to our character. Lastly, we use the debug mode to remove that chair because you can't move it without a hammer. Make sure that this box has planks for you, otherwise you will die because you can't make a notched plank to cook your food. So now we're out of a debug mode and our true survival begins. First of all, we forage because we need stuff to survive. You're not a beaver, you can't eat wood and be happy. Our primary goal is to find flint nodule and, well, probably food, but I'm not sure on that one. We'll also have to master the time management and understand roughly what time it is by looking at the sun, because foraging at night is a bad idea, and because at some point I spend half of my time waiting for the sun to go up, only to find my character wanting to go to sleep at sunrise. If you get lucky with foraging, you can craft flint flake, a drill plank to create a substance also known as fire, a wooden rod, and a fishing rod. Unfortunately for us, we can't catch a fish without a lure, and in this run, luck is not on Gary's side, because on this entire island, we only found one lure. And before you start yelling, but you can't dig furrows, let me stop you right here. We are not made of rags, so if we injure our hands, we are going to rip our clothes to stop the bleeding. And there are other things that could start making you bleed, like a tree branch. So we have to conserve everything we have. Everything. Except, of course, your sanity, because let's be honest, there is nothing left to conserve. But anyways, we start fishing to get some more food because mushrooms and berries can sustain hunger, but they can't sustain our weight. Also, we can use fishing rod without a lure, but we can only catch As far as I know, a plastic bottle, a broken fishing net, seaweed, dirty rag, and a tin can. But for now, the first day is over. As soon as we wake up, our uncomfortable bed lets us know why it's uncomfortable. We start off by fishing for some junk and get a few broken nets, which are entirely useless by the way. Then foraging to get as much food supply as possible and also check if anything new has appeared on the island. We actually found a spear, a weapon that we'd need later in the run. But yeah, foraging an entire day because the foraging skill is low. We need all the food we can get. And also, don't try to light up a fire when sleepy, because you will botch it and waste resources. But we get lucky and manage to cook a fish and mushrooms to get some proteins in. And finally, enjoy the first warm meal on this island. Day 2 is over. On day 3 we get hit with a massive fog, so foraging and even spotting fish is problematic. But to ensure the survival, we must continue to forage. However, we do get very lucky and find a spare flintstone. 2 is always better than 1, except for the number of boyfriends you have. And well, I walked around for a lot of time and nothing much. Unfortunately, the dehydration started to get to us and we are forced to drink from the lake. This is where our iron gut trait pays off. The next day, the fog disappeared. I noticed that our food supply started to go bad, so we needed to quickly consume it before it rots. Funnily enough, our character starts getting sleepy very fast. Remembering that lighting a fire while sleepy is not a great idea, I spent some time making the place look better, placing my tin cans and water bottles on the table, as well as broken fishing nets. But then again, I tried to make a fire even though my character was a lot sleepier. Somehow it worked. This is where I found out that you can't boil water in the furnace using a tin can, and that I had to drink exclusively tainted water. Iron gut trait was saving the whole run. Our character was a sleepy mess, and after failing to boil water, we went to sleep to start day 5. Fully rested and awake, we went foraging again, hoping to find some fishing lures or other useful items such as food. We did manage to get some small food, but it wouldn't help us that much. And after going through the island, we go back to fishing, hoping for seaweed. The private lake that we have provides us with that. We want seaweed as a backup food source since it doesn't go bad. And trust me, it saved us in this run. So after more routine tasks, day 5 was over. Unfortunately, day 6 greeted us with a fog again. If you are surviving on an island, your first routine task should be foraging. Through the thick fog, we managed to find a fishing lure, as well as a bunch of berries to munch on. We're feasting tonight. However, our diet is not enough because, as you can see, we're losing weight. So we start searching for fish bubbles to catch fresh meal. Luckily, with the corner of my eye, I spot some. However, I couldn't catch any. For some reason, the bait didn't get equipped, even though it is in secondary slot. After fixing the mistake, we finally got the fish that we needed, and enjoyed a fresh meal before going to bed. The next day, we woke up early and had to wait for the sunrise. Our weight continues dropping without any signs of stopping. For now, it is manageable, but we need a steady source of calories. Otherwise, nothing really happened that day, except that we started to eat our own seaweed supply to hold for the next few days, because in the next few days we get to visit another island. Day 8 went as usual. We were doing our routine and checking if the new stuff spawned. Unfortunately, no luck. We only found some more wood. But the hunger started to settle in, so I decided to start fishing for seaweed, since we only needed to last one more day to get on another island, eating the last reserves of food in the process. And if this couldn't get any worse, the helicopter event started. We are hungry, sleepy, and thirsty. This was probably the lowest point on this island, so we had to sleep and hope for the luck next day. On day 9, I desperately went foraging hoping for some berries, or even better, mushrooms. Anything that keeps me from starving is good. This is the last day before we unlock the other island. And again, the fog sets in. Everything was against me. Desperately, I decided to take a risk and dig for worms. But no luck. So again, we went to sleep with an empty stomach. Day 10 was a big day. As soon as we got some light from the sun, we started to build towards another island. This island was either going to save us and help us survive, or be barren and let us die. We find a berry bush, but the luckiest thing happened right after. We found a potato and managed to get seeds from it. That means we can start farming and are ready for long-term survival. And apparently, we even got a worm from the previous day. I just didn't notice it. So, as soon as possible, I started to sow the seeds. And I also don't want to hear anything about my farm. It is perfect. So, after a long day, we get to enjoy a freshly cooked potato and go to sleep. On day 11, we woke up in the middle of the night, a major sign that our sleeping schedule is completely wrecked. With no other option, we went foraging again. We managed to find more food, but after days of starvation, I noticed something troubling. We dropped another 2 kilos. We still had a big food problem to solve. The weight keeps falling off. Determined, we went fishing and managed to catch some much needed protein. Also, this is the first time I encountered the glitch, where in foraging mode you can see the floats. It can get as bad as 10 icons. But later, we caught another fish in my private lake. Seems like the bad days are over. Of course, survival isn't without its price. And while foraging, I get cut by a branch. Quickly, we rip our tank top and bandage ourselves. Now all we can do is hope that it heals quickly, because if we get another injury, we're going to have to sacrifice even more clothes. So we just took it easy and caught some seaweed. That day I decided enough was enough. Our character needed to fix their sleeping schedule. So as soon as it started to get dark, we went to bed, hoping tomorrow would bring better luck. Day 12, we wake up starving again, and light a fire to cook the fish we caught the day prior. This would temporarily stop our weight loss, but the problem is still yet to be solved. Perhaps the new island could help us with that, and it also hosts a house on it, but we haven't survived long enough to reach it yet. During foraging, we find a few berries, which naturally get eaten within seconds. We also gather a few mushrooms for later. Check out the name of a fishing rod when you equip a cockroach as a lure. And just like that, the day ended. And while day 13 was the same, I was just fishing and foraging, nothing to show there. Day 14, we woke up in the middle of the night. At this point, I really started regretting taking the negative sleeping trait. But rather than wasting time, I decided to cook some food. And I'll admit, there was something kind of atmospheric about this place. The crackling fire, the quiet of the night. With a full belly, we stepped out of the house at sunrise. Even after a good meal, the weight kept dropping. By the afternoon, the broken sleep schedule caught up to us. We started feeling sleepy way too early. After doing my routine water check on the plants, I forced Gary to stay up until evening. The plan? Wake up in the morning for once. Day 15 is a big day. We've officially survived long enough to reach another island. But stepping onto new land comes with risks. This one still had some owners lingering around. So we grab a spear that we found, and without wasting any time, we start building towards the island. Our main priority is to secure it. The first resident was in the house. While still there, we tried to catch mice, but they glitched out and we couldn't grab their bodies. Our character tried to go back to the house when they were basically right under us. The other resident was on the beach. Now the island is secure. I made sure to rip their clothes or clean rags just in case of an emergency like we've had before. Then I started to transport important items back to the main island. We got a shovel and hemp seeds so we could plant some, and that would help us in the long run. And it's also a good source of worms as a bait for fishing. The most important thing is that for the first time we slept on an actual mattress. Today was a win for survival and Gary's sanity. On day 16 we're going to forage as much as we can, especially food. You're probably tired of this food situation as I am, but this is really the greatest challenge when surviving on an island. We have more land, but the weight keeps getting lower and lower. Just when it seemed bleak, the Zomboid universe decided to give us a break. We found carrots and got some seeds along with it. So we can grow hemp, potatoes and carrots. And generally, the island had a lot of berries and the other snacks. You think that was it? No, we also found broccoli and the seeds with it. If there is one thing that I've learned out here, is that being lazy will get you killed. So without any hesitation, I got to work planting the broccoli. With every seed sown, we inch close to sustainable surviving, and potentially solving our hunger situation. After a while, we went to sleep after a long, productive day. All that hard work definitely deserves some rest. Day 17 was pretty boring and routine. We just foraged for more items that were on the island, and that's basically it. On day 18, we had almost enough wooden floors to connect another small island. We literally needed one more and that's it. But that meant we just needed to survive one more day since we get 3 wooden floors per day. On day 19, we started building a bridge to our last island, and finished the bridge to the island before. We quickly foraged, but the island was pretty empty unfortunately. And after that I decided to dig for worms, since we had a shovel, and I might have gone crazy with the amount of stuff I shoveled. So with all the worms that I found, I basically spent days 19 to 21 fishing because I was tired of the routine and basically the challenge was almost over. And on these days, the island gave me a gift. I caught a catfish, the weight of which started killing me immediately. Day 22, the last day of our challenge. the Free United Republic of Safrania was born because of the sheer determination, perseverance, and honestly, a fair amount of suffering. Gary managed to connect all of the islands and create his dream. Was it perfect? No, but it was his and it was enough. And with that, our challenge came to an end. Safrania lives on. So yeah, thanks for watching if you're still here. I really appreciate it. This took me a long time to do. This was my biggest project ever. If you don't mind, please subscribe and like. I would really appreciate that. That keeps me going. And yeah, until next time.